Okay, today is Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. The Rich Fantastic Channel giving you your weekly NBA report. Starting in the Eastern Conference, as we do, the top two teams are the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. Both off losses last night. Toronto lost to a Chicago team, and Cleveland lost a tough game in Utah. Both teams are separated by 2.5 games. Cleveland is now 47-19, Toronto 44-21. Teams 3 through 6 are the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, Atlanta Hawks, and Charlotte Hornets. They're all separated by 2 games. The Heat were able to win on the second night of a back-to-back last night over the Denver Nuggets. Charlotte had their 7-game winning streak snapped. The Celtics have been off for a couple days now. They will play the Indiana Pacers tonight, and then they have a game tomorrow, Wednesday, on a back-to-back where they go home. They're in Indiana tonight, and they go home to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. Indiana, the aforementioned Pacers, are 35-31. They're in the 7th spot. Chicago and Detroit are both tied at 13.5 games back. Chicago at 33-32 is percentage points ahead of Detroit at 34-33 for the final playoff spot. The Washington Wizards, who crushed the Pistons last night. Wizards have been a bit of a disappointment this entire season for me. I had them in the Eastern Conference Championship Series. They really handled the Pistons pretty bad last night. They are at 31-35, 2.5 games behind the final playoff spot. The Milwaukee Bucks at 29-38 are 5 games out. They got to get it together fast. They are on a 3-game winning streak, but only 5-5 in the last 10. Orlando is also 5 games back. They are percentage points behind the Milwaukee Bucks, though, at 28-37. I think next year would be more of the year for the Orlando Magic. They still want to finish out the string well. And if they can get to 40 wins, that'd be great. I doubt it, but certainly keep themselves under 45 losses. The New York Knicks 4-6 in the last 10 at 28-40. The Brooklyn Nets are on a 4-game losing streak. They're 18-48. Going to be really interesting to see if they lose 60 games or not. It's going to be right there at the end. And the Philadelphia 76ers at 9-57 have lost one. They were on a big losing streak before they were able to snap it against the Brooklyn Nets. But expect them to go on another extended losing streak, and let's see if they can avoid 70 losses. That's going to be right there as it is with Brooklyn losing 60. Moving to the Western Conference, you have the Golden State Warriors on top and at 60-6, and the San Antonio Spurs 4 games back at 56-10. Those two teams have clinched playoff spots. They're going to be teams 1 and 2. They play each other 3 times down the stretch. 2 of those games are in San Antonio, who have not lost a home game this year. Let's see if they can catch Golden State. I would expect that Golden State is going to win one of those games in San Antonio. Let's see if San Antonio can win the game that's in Golden State. And those teams will have home losses before the season ends, or if one of them can sweep their home court this year. Oklahoma City 4-6 in their last 10. They are 11.5 back of San Antonio for the second spot, so those two teams are locked in 1 and 2. But Oklahoma City only has a 2-game lead over the Los Angeles Clippers for the 3rd and 4th spots. Of course, the third team will avoid Golden State in the second round, but then you're just playing San Antonio in the second round. That's assuming Golden State and San Antonio hold pat, which I'm expecting. Memphis on a 2-game losing streak. We discussed the Mike Conley injury. They're 5-5 in the last 10. They got throttled by almost 50 last night. They lost by 49 to the Houston Rockets. Again, we're not going to go too much into it with the Memphis Grizzlies. We discussed the Mike Conley injury. They're going to have to figure it out and just tread water the rest of the way until he comes back. But they do have a 4.5-game lead over the Portland Trailblazers, so they're almost certainly going to be locked into that 5th spot. But they can tumble without Conley, especially if they play the way they did last night. Portland at 6, Houston at 7, Dallas at 8, and then Utah, the 9th place team, are all separated by 2.5 games. Houston and Dallas had the same record at 34-33. They're a half game back of the Trailblazers at 35-33. Utah is 32-35. They're 2 out. They got that big win last night over Cleveland without Gordon Hayward. They have won 3 straight. Of course, they had about a 5-game losing streak in there, which really has hampered them a bit. But they can still make the playoffs. They got to start going on a run now. Denver at 28-39 is 6 games out. I don't think they have a chance. And Sacramento has lost 5 straight. They are finished. New Orleans, of course, also on a 4-game losing streak. They're not going anywhere. Minnesota Timberwolves, 3-7 in the last 10, 21-46. Really disappointing year for Minnesota. I didn't have them in the playoffs. I was expecting at least, 33, 34 wins, avoiding a 50-loss season. Then you have the Phoenix Suns at 18-49, the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 14-53. Now, before we get into the power rankings, I'm going to give a quick note with the Boston Celtics. They, of course, are going to be without Jay Crowder for about 2 weeks now. If I were the Celtics, I would put Jonas Jerebko in the starting lineup. There's a lot of talk about Evan Turner. Evan Turner has the size to play forward, but he is a guard. And I think Jerebko gives you a bit more with the three-point shooting. And his defense, it's not great, but he certainly competes on defense the same way Crowder did. And he's much more of a player in the mold of Crowder, where Turner is a lot different. He's a point guard in a forward's body. All right, the power rankings, of course, Golden State Warriors, number 1. San Antonio Spurs, number 2. Tough spot for the number 3 one because you have Cleveland and Toronto all off losses, and Oklahoma City is not playing that well. The Clippers are right up there as well, but I will have to give it to the Cleveland Cavaliers because they have beaten the Clippers of late. They beat them on Sunday. So we have the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 3. Number 4, I will stick with the Oklahoma City Thunder, still almost at +7, +6.9 in their differential, even though they're 4-6 in the last 10. And then number 5, even though they lost last night, they have been playing too well of late. We discussed Kemba Walker in our player profile on Friday, and that would be the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets, of course, are 8-2 in their last 10. They are 37-29 and can get all the way up to the 3 spot, especially with the Celtics, who are going to be without Jay Crowder for some time now. So look out for the Charlotte Hornets. Of course, when we discussed Kemba Walker, we had gone into that as well. All right, so that is your weekly NBA report for Tuesday, March 15th, 2016. Any other flash news alerts throughout the week, we will be coming to you with that. And be sure to stay tuned on Friday. We will be on the radio 90.5 HD3, Brookdale Student Radio, with more NBA news and talk. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.